2025 was a tumultuous year in the world of the credit card and points and miles hobby because, wow, we had so many changes. We had so many new cards. We had even crazy things like cards just disappearing overnight. So, on this list, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through what my opinions are about what were the best and the worst cards, changes, everything that impacted the landscape of the points and miles hobby in 2025. Welcome to the Rewards Master. If you would please hit the like and subscribe button, and let's dive into it together. There were so many changes in 2025. In fact, probably more than any other time I can remember in any other year, because there were so many not only new cards that came on the market and cards that disappeared and went away forever, there was also a whole bunch of changes to existing cards. I mean, big changes. So what's the best and the worst? Well, your list, no doubt, will be different than mine. And that's because different cards affected people different ways. For instance, the U.S. Bar, which is the U.S. Bank Altitude Reserve card, was beloved by many people. I've never had that card, so it didn't affect me as badly as it did some others. But that card went through a huge nerf and a huge change, and it's actually totally gone for most people, new applicants at least. So that was huge for some people, but for others, it didn't really matter that much. And so that's why everybody's list is going to be different. So I'm going to share with you my list of the best and the worst in a number of different categories. And let me know down below in the comments as I'm going through. Just put a little note down there. Say, I agree with you on this one. I don't agree on this one. I actually think this is worse, or I actually think this is better. And maybe together we can compile the perfect list. Well, let's look at them. And the first category I'm going to look at is what is the best and the worst new card to hit the market in the last year. Now, in the best category, in my opinion, it is one that was greatly anticipated for a long time, and nobody knew exactly what it was going to look like, but there was a lot of excitement. And sure enough, and this is a unique thing, less common than we hope, but sure enough, this card delivered on the promises, and people, we're very, very excited. And that is the Bank of America Atmos Summit card. And this card is, of course, the high-level card associated with Alaska Airlines and their Atmos program. And people love Alaska. I think they've got some of the best points in the points and miles hobby. And so is this card going to be great, or is it going to be a flop? Well, it ended up being pretty great. A card that didn't have too high of an annual fee. Mid-level for a top-end card, but the benefits were kind of unique and different. It didn't default back to just the whole bunch of credits. And then it gave, as its main benefit, a 25,000 point rebate on travel. So on your partner or companion, if you're using points on a booking. And that is very significant because it could be used on a domestic flight. It could be used on an international flight. But then kind of the big news was the earnings rate. It gets 3x on every foreign purchase. So for people who travel overseas a lot, this is an amazing card. And I just have to give credit to Bank of America and the Atmos program because they delivered a unique, different card that doesn't just follow the same old model, but is different. It gives great value, and it's just kind of special. So the best new card of 2025, in my opinion, is the Atmos Summit card. What's the worst new card of 25? Well, I don't know that this card for sure came out in 2025, but if it didn't, it came out at the very end of 2024, and it kind of got popular all throughout 2025 and talked about a lot. But I think that this has to go to, without any question, without any shadow of a doubt, it has to go to the Mesa card. Because, what card just closes overnight and just says, too bad, so sad, if you've got a whole bunch of miles or points in the program. Now, they did let people cash them out for 0.6 cents a point, which is awful, but they just closed up overnight. It's unbelievable. I'm not a Mesa card holder. I had considered it because I do have a mortgage, but wow, what an utterly terrible thing to do to cardholders. How irresponsible as a company is that? So I think that regardless of any other thing that we look at, that crown of the worst new card this year has to go to the Mesa card. What about the category of card family changes? So, there's different card families. There's the Hilton card family from American Express. There's the Bonvoy card family from both American Express and also from Chase Bank. I mean, you've got all these different airlines and different hotel groups, and they have their card families. Well, I think the best change is kind of similar. And because of the previous category and the previous card we talked about, I think the best change, in my opinion, is the Alaska or the Atmos cards because of the addition of that Summit card. So now you've got that card, you got the $95 annual fee card, the Ascent card that used to be just the Alaska card. Those cards are still very good. You can still earn a companion pass on the lower level card. I think overall, they still win the crown in this category as well because of that new Summit card on the best changes or improvements to a card family. Now, where it gets difficult is when we talk about what are the worst changes. Who wins that crown? Well, I think there's some contenders. At first, I gave this to United Airlines because their new card lineup, they revamped them all. Not one or two, them all. And to me, the changes were very American Express-esque in that they're trying to follow all those high fees, high credits, and having to nickel and dime you to death to get any value back from the cards, and just some ridiculous credits like the JSX credit. Who's going to use that? Who flies United? I mean, kind of a semi-private type of thing. So who's going to do that? Well, some of their credits are just awful. You got to use them several times a month. I mean, the United changes to me were real bad. They even nerfed some of the access to partner lounges and things at the top end and raised the fees. So they just weren't good. But I'm not going to give it to them. They don't win. That's an honorable mention. They came close, but the winner is U.S. Bank. U.S. Bank has just destroyed their card system. I mean, they had that Smartly card that came out that was offering 4% if you just moved $100,000 over into an investment account and all that. Well, that's gone. It just went away. It just went away. And then you can still get the card and you can still get it if you put like $100,000 in a checking account. But who would do that? That'd be the worst financial decision ever. And then you have the U.S. Bank Altitude Reserve, which was beloved by people. And then they stopped it for new applicants. And even for people that still have it, rather than doing what some of their competitors do when they cancel a card, just letting the people that have it still get their benefits. No. Now they're nerfing that real bad. So I think most people who have U.S. Bank cards are very, very disappointed. And I think they take the crown of the worst changes to a credit card ecosystem or a credit card family in 2025. The best and the worst card refresh of the year. Well, for me, the best card refresh of the year goes to the American Express Platinum. I think it's a great refresh. I still don't think it's a fantastic card, especially if you use it for multipliers, but it's a great lifestyle card. It's got great easy credits. I mean, I thought the changes to the FHR were fantastic. I mean, $600 a year, that's great. I thought the changes to Resi were great. I mean, that's great. Then you got the Lululemon. Most people can find a way to use that. I mean, I think it was a great refresh. And yes, it went up in annual fee, but your potential return, if you use all those credits, if you're the kind of person who was doing that anyway, then you're going to get a lot more back. So I think it was a big time win. And I give the crown for the best refresh card to American Express for the Platinum card. Now, when it comes to the worst, I think their main competitor gets the crown there. And some may disagree with this. I know some people like it. But I think that the Chase Sapphire Reserve was a real miss. I think it gets the crown for the worst refresh because people loved the card before and a lot less people love the card now. And there's a lot of reasons for that. The credits are hard to use. The credits are not as good as Amex across the board. Their dining credit's not as good. They don't have 9,000 restaurants. They have 150. Their FHR type credit is not good with the edit because you got to do 2 nights instead of 1 night. It's just not as good. as their competitor, and they were trying to compete. It doesn't make any sense. And then they nerfed and took away the 3X on all travel, which was a real benefit of the card. I mean, they did add some things like StubHub credits, stuff like that, but I think it was just a real mess. And tell me in the comments below if you think somebody else beat them on a terrible refresh, but I think that they, in my opinion, they win in the category of the worst refresh of the year for the Sapphire Reserve. Now, on the best and worst new credits on a credit card, I'm going to give this award to the same card in both categories. Now, it was hard on the negative side, and it was kind of hard even on the positive side because there are a lot of great new credits. But I'm going to give the best new credit of the year to the American Express Platinum card with the Resi credit. I mean, $100 a quarter, that'll pay for a full meal at a lot of Resi restaurants. That was just a fantastic addition to the card. Now, it had some other great credits too, but that one to me was really good. Now, on the side of talking about what's the worst credit of the year, there are so many contenders. I mean, so many on here. I mean, there are some bad ones, but I'm going to give this, and I know this probably won't be popular. Some people really like it, and that's fine. This is just my opinion, but I think the Aura Ring credit is pretty bad. Now, it doesn't compare to some of the old terrible credits like Equinox and stuff like that. But as far as the new credits, I think the Aura Ring one is dumb because you have to buy the ring with it, and the ring costs more than the $200 for sure. But even that, you can't use it without a subscription service, and the credit doesn't work on the subscription service. So it's literally a credit you can use once when you first get the card. You can't use it year after year after year. I think it's just a gimmicky kind of credit, and I'm going to give that award also to the American Express Platinum. So they win on both ends of the spectrum in the category of the best and the worst credits. Now, you may think others are worse, and you would have a strong argument on a lot of them. So put down below, what do you think is the worst credit, new credit of the year? All right, now we come to the category of the best and worst partner changes. So banks that made changes to their transfer partners and which ones really benefited the customer and which ones were absolutely terrible for us. Well, on the best of the year category, I think there are two strong contenders, but one of them really jumps ahead. Now, the first honorable mention goes to Build with Japan Airlines. That was a really strong entry. I mean, Built is great anyway, great valuable points, and Japan Airlines are extremely valuable and a one-to-one partner. Now, also, we know that the Venture X card and Capital One added them as well, but they didn't add them at one-to-one. So that was a great honorable mention, but I just don't think it can compare to the scope of American Airlines being added to Citibank. So Citibank, I think without question, I think most people would agree. If you don't, put it down below. But I think most people would say that adding American Airlines to Citibank with all of Citibank's high-earning cards is a big win. And that has to take the crown for the best partner changes of the year. Now, when it comes to the worst partner changes, I'm going to give that one to American Express with their recent devaluations of a few of their partners. And part of it's because of the fact that they devalued them, but it's also because there's a little bit of fear, and I even wonder, is this kind of a trend that's going to start happening more and more? So we know they devalued both Emirates, and they also devalued their Cathay Pacific transfers. And both of those are no longer one-to-one. Well, let's just cross our fingers, hope and pray that that doesn't continue as a trend to some of their other partners. But I think it's very much a negative change, and I give the award to American Express for changing those redemptions with those two partners and kind of making everybody afraid it's going to continue. So they take the crown as far as worst partner changes of the year. The next category we're going to look at is lounge access changes. Now, this one, on the negative end, there's just no contest. I think that one above all others is going to win, although I'll give a little honorable mention. But when it comes to positive changes, there don't seem to have been a whole lot of positive changes. If you can think of others that I don't mention here, put them down in the comments below. But I'm going to give this one to Citibank and American Airlines on both the Elite card and also the new AA Globe card, because each of them give 4 American Airlines lounge passes. Now, a lot of people say, well, that's not very many, and that's not good, and this, that, or the other. And that's true. But their competitors, the United Quest card, the American Express Delta Platinum card, they don't give any lounge access. So to have lounge access at some level, now I'm meaning particularly with the Globe card, that's a pretty good perk on that mid-level card. Now with the Elite card, they don't have dedicated lounges with Citi. They just threw those in there to give you something extra beyond Priority Pass, and I get it. But it does give people who don't fly all the time a little bit of lounge access with American Airlines if they're flying them. And I think that's, there's just not a lot of competition in this. So I'm going to give it to Citi and AA in the best lounge access changes this year. Now, when it comes to the worst, I think we all kind of can guess who's going to get that one. But there's an honorable mention when it comes to the Ritz-Carlton card with Chase. They changed their access policy that used to be just amazing, unlimited guests. Well, that's not unlimited guests anymore. It's 2 guests. But that doesn't even compare to the stripping of all the great benefits that was on the Venture X card from Capital One before. I mean, you could have up to 4 authorized users for free. They got a couple guests each at Priority Pass and also at Capital One lounges. That's all changed. Now, just the primary card holder can go in to the lounges with no guests, unless they pay, no guests for free. And if you want your authorized user to have that singular access for themselves, you got to pay $125 a year. That's just that major change, a major benefit on a major card. And so I think that they definitely win the crown on worst lounge access changes for 2025. The last category I'm going to look at, and I probably missed some categories, so put them down below if you think of them. But the last category I'm going to talk about is multiplier changes. So what are the changes, both good and bad, the best and the worst, that issuers used when it came to their cards? So what did they change? Well, I think the most positive, and I'll tell you why I think this is, and others may disagree, but I think the new Strata Elite card from Citi wins the crown for the best, because on a high-level travel card, it put a 1.5x earning category on everything. Now, some would say, well, that's not as good as the 2x on the Venture X card, and that's true, but it's a lot better than the 1x that you get on their competitor from American Express, the Platinum card, and the 1x that you get on the Chase Reserve card, because it's a top-level card. And in some ways, I think arguably it's as good or better as the Venture X because it has other categories. I mean, the Venture X is just basically you're getting 2x on everything unless you use the portal. Well, you can use the portal for high value with the Citi Elite card, and you're getting 12x. That's a great benefit too. But you also get the 3x on dining, you get 6x on City Nights, all of that, and you get the 1.5x. I think that's really good for a top-level card, and it wins the crown in my opinion. Now, for the worst changes, I think most would agree Chase just pulled the rug out of its customers when they took away the 3x in all travel category on the Sapphire Reserve. And I think that definitely wins the crown of the worst changes that most disappointed customers when it comes to multiplier changes. So that's my list. Several cards win, several cards lose, but those are what I see as the best and the worst changes, new cards, multipliers, all of the above when it comes to 2025. Let me know your comments down below, where you agree, where you disagree. Did I miss something? It's very possible I did. I'd love to know. Please consider my channel membership. It's just $2.99 a month. You can cancel anytime. I do early release videos for channel members. I also do dedicated videos for channel members, and I'd love to see you as a part of that community. You can check it out below. You can cancel anytime. Please hit the like and subscribe button, and I will see you here next time.